So how much?
I wouldn't sell for less than $3 million.
How much you want for this thing?
I'm looking to get $1.5 million.
How much you want for this?
$1 million.
How much do you want for the guitar?
$750,000 for it.
How much you want for this?
$1.3 million.
The first seller walked into the shop carrying a medieval German crossbow believed to date back to the 15th century.
I can honestly say I've never had a medieval crossbow in here before. These things got an amazing history to them. I mean, the great thing about them was at close range, you could go through a knight's armor. This was the first armor-piercing bullet.
Rick noticed that the crossbow was quite heavy. He explained that unlike modern replicas, this one featured solid steel construction and an original windlass system used to draw back the string.
What are you looking to do with it?
I'm looking to sell it.
What's a fair price to you?
$12,000.
I have no idea if that's the correct price. I'm going to call a buddy and get him down here to take a look at this. It's all right with you?
After examining the crossbow thoroughly, the expert concluded that it dated from between 1550 and 1650, a time of heavy conflict in the German states.
Crossbows have been around before Christ. In the Middle Ages, it was very important because you could train someone to use it in maybe 5 minutes. It's sort of like the AK-47 of the Middle Ages.
When it came to value, the expert noted that pieces like this rarely appear, but at auction, they typically sell for between $7,000 and $10,000.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you $5,000 for it.
My bottom dollar on it is $10,500.
I'll go 7.
I need something really close to $10,500.
I'll tell you what, I'll go $7,500.
Rick said that $7,500 was the best price he could pay, but the seller wanted at least $9,000, so the deal didn't go through.
So is this George Washington's too?
It is. It's a 3-piece suit that he acquired sometime in the mid-18th century. It's amazing that it held up so well.
The seller said the 3-piece suit had been carefully passed down through generations before eventually appearing at a New York auction where he purchased it.
If I could go back and have a cup of coffee with just about anybody in history, it'd probably be this guy. He could have been elected president until the day he died, but he stepped down after 2 terms, and he set the standard for presidents to come. To me, he's one of the most amazing men in history.
The seller mentioned that even though the piece is over 250 years old, it still shows traces of its original pink color.
So you think this is all legit and everything, right?
Yes, I think it is. You just don't see a piece of Americana like this very often. This is just amazing.
Absolutely.
The seller was asking $3 million, and Rick said he was actually considering buying it, but needed some time to think.
What's the best you can do? 1.5?
No,
How about $2 million?
absolute best price would be $2.5 million.
Okay, well, I guess the suit's out then.
Rick's
$1,000. All right. What do we got here?
I have a Stradivarius violin dated 1763.
A Stradivarius?
The seller explained that he found the violin inside an old cedar chest in a house he had just bought, and when he saw the label, he thought he might have discovered something worth millions.
Antonio Stradivari was an instrument maker back in the early 1700s. His instruments were considered the best ever made. That's why they go for millions of dollars.
Rick also pointed out something important. Stradivari had died before 1763, so the date didn't line up. The seller, however, argued that his legacy could have carried on.
I'm 99% sure this is a copy, but some copies were so well made, they're still worth a lot of money. Not millions, but thousands.
The seller wanted $1 million for the violin, so Rick decided to call in an expert to confirm his doubts.
One of the first things I like to look at is the style of the violin making. So the wood is what Stradivari would have used, but it's also what any violin maker would use.
The expert examined the wood, construction, and interior details. While some materials were consistent with the period, the internal structure didn't match what Stradivari typically used.
My conclusion is that this violin is a copy of a Stradivari, meaning it's not $1 million violin.
In its current condition, the expert estimated the value at around $500. So when the seller asked for an offer, Rick passed. He said that once repair and resale costs were considered, the deal just wasn't profitable.
So I have brought for you the most incomplete book that I've ever brought. This is an actual printed page from the Gutenberg Bible, the very first printed book.
The seller explained that in the 1920s, an incomplete Gutenberg Bible was dismantled and sold page by page so individuals could own a piece of history.
The Gutenberg Bible to this day is regarded as one of the most beautifully printed books.
He had to invent the type. He had to invent press that it went into. He had to invent the ink. It was a massive undertaking.
The seller compared the printing of the Gutenberg Bible in the 1450s to the invention of the internet. explaining that the technology spread rapidly across Europe, with printing centers established within just 50 years, and that it transformed the world by making knowledge accessible to ordinary people.
Okay, so the big question, how much you want for it?
I came up with a number of $65,000 for the page.
Like always, I'm going to call Rebecca. Let me get her down here.
I would be delighted. She's going to be here.
The expert Rebecca said that no complete Gutenberg Bible has been sold since the 1970s, and that in the meantime, other books have fetched over $10 million. She added that if a full set were to come to market, it would be astronomical and would likely break all records.
Okay, what's it worth?
Dealers I know and trust, they're going to place this around $80,000. So I think that is fair to ask for the way things are looking right now.
After the authentication was complete, negotiations began. Rick said he needed enough margin to justify the risk, so he offered $40,000 for it.
I mean, I didn't even want to come down so low, but 55.
I would go 45,000. That's the best I could do.
I'm going to offer it to you for 47,000, and it would be foolish for you to say no.
47. We got a deal.
The next seller walked in with a painting he believed was created by legendary artist Claude Monet.
Where in the hell did you get this?
Collateral for a loan.
The guy just defaulted on the loan, or?
No, actually, he took the money, went in the hospital, and died.
Okay.
So that, I guess, in itself is a default.
The seller even brought documentation showing the piece had once been insured for over $2 million and displayed at a fine arts museum, making the situation even more intriguing.
People have walked in my shop and I have bought hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of merchandise off them. But a real Monet, that might be the most expensive item yet.
The seller said he wanted to sell it, but Rick said he wasn't qualified to determine whether the piece was real, so he called in an expert to check it out.
I mean, there's prestigious museums that can't get hold of a Monet, so you don't expect to see one in a Las Vegas pawn shop.
You say I'm not prestigious? Yeah, well, really?
Nothing personal.
The expert noted that the painting looked stylistically similar to Monet's work from the late 1870s, particularly his rural landscapes. However, several red flags appeared. The colors lacked Monet's usual vibrancy, and the texture seemed unusually flat.
You know, I don't want to dismiss it because, again, you're talking about a piece that, if it's authentic, this could be a $5 million piece.
So red flags means it's not real, or?
I'd like to get a second opinion.
Because the stakes were so high, a second authentication expert was brought in to take a closer look.
The man that I go to in our gallery when we have masterpieces come through just...
Before to look at the name, you look at the technique. Because you see rapidly the difference between Sunday morning painter and a real artist.
The second expert examined the technique and aging, noting key indicators expected in artwork that should be around 150 years old. However, there were no age cracks in the paint or the signature, something virtually impossible for a genuine 19th century oil painting.
So is it real?
It's in the style of Monet, but it's not absolutely not by the end of Claude Monet.
How sure are you of this?
200% sure.
Not real.
Not real.
Oh.
The next seller walked in with one of the wildest items ever seen in the shop, a massive dinosaur bone.
So do you know what dinosaur this is from?
I don't. It was my grandfather's. I have no idea. I just know that it's a dinosaur bone.
The seller explained it had been displayed as art in her grandfather's house, but she wasn't even sure if it was real. She also mentioned that if she could make a deal, the money would go toward a mommy makeover and a trip to Hawaii.
So, how much do you want for this thing?
I was thinking 40,000.
Rick raised concerns that parts of the fossil might be plaster casts rather than real bone, so he called in a fossil expert to authenticate the piece.
This is Chimerasaurus. Chimerasaurus was a long-necked dinosaur that lived in the Jurassic period, quadrupedal dinosaur, walked on 4 legs.
After inspecting the bone's weight and internal structure to tell real fossils from casts, the expert confirmed that the key pieces were authentic.
Look at that. You see that cell structure in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, this bone is definitely legit.
So the big question, what do these things go for?
If this thing came into my museum, I'd be very comfortable appraising it at $25,000.
After hearing the expert's appraisal, the seller lowered her asking price to $21,000, but Rick didn't want to pay that much. So after some negotiation, they finally agreed on $18,000.
I have what I'm hoping is a very, very old, very rare coin. I figured I'd come in and see if it's worth what I think it's worth, which is a substantial amount.
The seller said he received the coin in a will from a family member who had bought it at auction 3 decades earlier.
It's a little weird. I can guarantee you it's from the Eastern Mediterranean. There's literally hundreds, if not over 1,000 coins like this. They're all from different city-states, different countries, Egypt, Greece, Sicily.
Rick explained that large coins like this were incredibly rare because most were melted down when cities were conquered. So, if it were genuine, it could be extremely valuable.
How much do you want for it?
20 grand.
You know, my big concerns are it's in really good shape. Generally, when it's too good to be true, there's a chance this could be real, but I'm assuming it's fake.
Rick explained that coins from that period were struck by hand with long hammers, often leaving them off-center and uneven. Its flawless condition raised doubts, so he brought in an expert to examine it.
So is it real?
If it's real, it's worth a pretty penny. Okay, I have news. It's absolutely genuine.
After confirming the coin's authenticity, the expert estimated its value at around $50,000.
I'll give you 35 grand for it, which is more than you were looking to get for earlier.
But then I'm leaving like a...
You're not leaving anything on the table. You know who's going to buy it for more?
Not personally, but...
I'll tell you what, I'll give you 40 grand.
40,000's fair.
Lincoln, Starbucks.
I'll give you 50.
Got a vampire defense kit.
It looks like a real kit for killing vampires. And these things aren't supposed to exist.
According to the seller, the kit had been passed down through his family for decades and was believed to be over 100 years old.
This is the kind of stuff that would be in a movie or something like that, but this is not a movie prop. It's way well too made.
The set included everything you'd expect from vampire folklore: a wooden stake, a rosary, mirrors, and even antique pistols. Rick said it sounded unbelievable, but the craftsmanship looked far too authentic to be a modern movie prop.
How much do you want for this?
Over 100 years old, I was thinking 6 grand.
I've never seen anything in my entire career that even comes similar to compare this to, so I'm gonna give someone a call.
The expert explained that vampire defense kits became popular during the late Victorian era, when fascination with the supernatural was at its peak. Even the pistols inside the case dated back to the mid-1800s, adding credibility to the set's authenticity.
In today's money, this would have cost $10,000 or $15,000.
Oh, easily. The last one of these that was publicly sold at a major auction house sold for over $25,000.
After the expert's appraisal, the seller wanted $20,000, but Rick said that finding the right buyer for something this unusual could take years, so he offered $15,000.
Do you go maybe 18.5?
I'll tell you what, I will give you 16 grand. I'm not gonna go any higher. I have to take something like this, sometimes have to wait years to find the right auction to put it in.
I'll let it go for 16.
All right, cool, man. So what do we got here?
This is my 1602 Shipwreck Dutch East India Company bell.
The seller explained that she had purchased it years ago in Indonesia from a small shop and needed to sell it because it was taking up too much space.
I just love old shipwreck items. You can just imagine the journey they've been on. Not to mention they can be big money and very easy to sell.
The old man said he doubted it had been in salt water since its shape would be more damaged.
How much you pay for it?
Well, $700.
It's Indonesia, it's the Orient, where they fake everything from Rolexes to antique bells. They fake toothpaste, for the love of God.
Since Rick had doubts it might be fake, he called a shipwreck artifact expert.
I don't think this thing was in salt water for any period of time to mount to anything.
Well, you're right. 90% of all shipwrecks are in shallow water. In fact, most of them are sticking up. You know, they hit the reef and they pretty much stay there.
After examining it, the expert confirmed the bell was real, and based on wear and corrosion, he dated it to around 1760.
I think this could be put into one of the treasure auction catalogs, and they'd probably go somewhere $15,000, give or take.
After hearing the expert's appraisal, the seller raised her asking price to $11,000, but the old man lowballed it at $3,000.
I don't think you'll take 3, will you?
Yeah.
I'll just be realistic with you. I will pay you $7,000 cash.
85.
No. I mean, I would go like $7,000.
8,000?
I'll go like 7,200.
It doesn't fit in my place anymore, and I want it to go to somebody who really wants it.
Deal?
Deal.
The next seller came in with a 16th century katana that had stayed in her family since World War II.
During World War II, there was this whole thing called the spoils of war. Might sound a little strange now, but it just goes back from thousands of years. I mean, one of the big things guys brought back from Japan was samurai swords.
According to the seller, the inscriptions on the blade indicated it had been used for beheading Christians, something Rick found hard to believe.
What were you looking to do with it?
Sell it.
How much you want for it?
10,000.
Rick admitted he had no idea what the sword was worth, so he called in an expert for help.
This blade was made in 1863 by Nagahiro and was given to the Lord of Choshu to protect Japan against enemies of the emperor, the Imperial family.
The expert explained that the inscriptions weren't about beheading Christians, but signified loyalty to the emperor.
The question, what's it worth?
Well, in its present condition, I'd say this sword is probably worth about $10,000.
Rick said he also had to make money, so the seller lowered her asking price to $5,000.
The fact of the matter is, I don't take advantage of people. $5,000 is just too low. I will give you $6,000 for it. I'm assuming $6,000 is fine since you wanted $5,000.
Yes, $6,000 is great.
The next seller walked in with a cased set of antique pistols that had been passed down through his family.
What can you tell me about them?
I don't really know a whole lot. You know, they've just been sitting in my closet.
The old man immediately recognized them as a matching dueling set, likely made in England around the mid-1800s or earlier.
Back in the good old days when you had a heated disagreement with someone, you settled it with a duel. They had matching guns so that one person didn't have an advantage of a better gun. But if you were a bad shot, you'd be better off apologizing and getting your head blown off.
The old man called in his antique arms expert to make sure everything checked out, especially since he didn't see any proof marks on the barrels.
Now, you're concerned about there being a lack of proof marks. This type of gun, when you push this pin out, this barrel lifts right out of there. So they put the proof marks on the bottom.
The expert explained that because the pistols were still in their original case with the accessories and label, he estimated the set could be worth anywhere from $5,500 to $15,000, depending on the buyer.
So what do you want from them, guy?
Can I get 5,000?
No. Guy, if you want it, you got $3,000.
How about 3,500?
How about 2,500?
You're going the wrong way.
I'll go 3,250. I'll split it with you. That's the best I'm gonna go.
That sounds fair enough.
So we got a boat car. We were at the shop, I got a call, and this guy has a seat. It's an amphibious Jeep, which means you can drive it straight into the water and it becomes a boat.
The seller explained that he found it in a barn in Wisconsin and spent around 3,000 hours restoring it back to factory condition.
What it primarily was used for was a reconnaissance vehicle because it could go so many places, and being 12 volt, which was very unique during World War II.
The seller also mentioned that it is registered both as a car and as a boat, so it is legally permitted to operate on both the road and the water.
These are just incredibly rare, and to actually find one completely restored in working condition is amazing. So how much you want for this thing?
$240,000.
Let me call someone to come out here and take a look at this.
Sure.
The expert explained that these amphibious Jeeps are extremely rare, and that one never restored example sold for $100,000 last year.
We take it out on the lake. It actually has a little bit of get up and go. I can't tell you how impressed I was when he just drove it right out of the lake. I mean, that was a steep hill, it was muddy, and it flew right through it.
The expert confirmed that the vehicle had been properly restored and described it as a top-tier collector's piece, estimating it would sell for around $215,000.
What will you realistically take for it?
$240,000.
So you wouldn't take like $180,000 for it?
No, I don't think you could restore one for $180,000.
Change your mind, $180,000.
It was nice.
Thanks for the ride though, dude.
Oh, it was fun.
That's amazing.
This is Elvis's Superfly coat, one of the most iconic pieces of Elvis wardrobe in the collector's market.
You're saying this belonged to Elvis?
It did.
The seller confirmed that the coat was worn by Elvis by showing a photo of him wearing it.
How in the hell did you get this?
I bought this from Mike Moon, who owns the Elvis Presley Museum in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee.
The seller explained that Elvis was known for his unique fashion, which is why pieces like this are so collectible.
How much were you looking to get out of it, too?
$75,000.
Do you mind if I have someone look at this thing? I mean, it is really cool. I mean, it's a massively iconic thing.
Even though the seller had all the proof, Rick still wanted to call an expert to determine the jacket's true value.
Tell me, did you ever see Elvis in this?
In this exact one, yes.
So you think this is the real deal?
I know it is.
After confirming that the jacket was authentic, the expert estimated its value at between $50,000 and $60,000.
So what do you think I should pay for it, chum?
40 grand.
70 grand.
I can't do it.
I'll go 50.
I'll go 40 grand.
I'll do 45.
The deal's not right. The deal's not right, dude.
Okay. You don't want to do 45?
I'll go 40.
You got it.
The next seller walked in with something truly out of this world, a meteorite.
What's it made out of?
Nickel, iron, and just ordinary chondritic stone. It's only been on the ground for maybe 3 to 5 months, approximately.
The seller said this meteor traveled billions of years through space before landing on Earth, and that's why he's asking at least $4,700 for it.
I mean, if it's real, it's really cool. I mean, I dig it. I think it's really neat. I mean, my big problem is I don't deal in meteorites, and I don't even know if it's a meteorite. I want someone to look at it.
The expert confirmed it was real, and that part of the meteorite had even been cataloged in an official international database.
Okay, so it's a meteorite?
That rock is older than this planet. That thing was solid before this planet ever solidified.
The expert explained that because it was a graded and cataloged meteorite, it was valued at around $4,000.
I'll give you $1,800.
Could you do $2,250?
We take $2,000 for it?
Nah, I can't go that low.
I'll give you 21. I won't give you a dime more.
Sounds fair.
Deal, man.
And a piece of rock and roll history. This is a 1941 Gibson SJ200.
The next seller brought in a 1941 Gibson SJ200 and said it once belonged to Stephen Stills.
I'm sort of amazed. Everyone who was around in the 60s knows who Stephen Stills. He's literally an icon. If he's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I'd be shocked.
The seller said he bought it at auction and had documentation, including a signed bill of sale from when Stills originally sold it.
I would absolutely love to get my hands on this guitar. It's beautiful, it's rare, and it was owned by a rock and roll legend. But it almost seems too good to be true, and there's nothing that worries me more than that.
The seller asked $110,000 for the guitar. Knowing the SJ200 was one of Gibson's top pre-war models, Rick called in an expert to verify it.
What's it worth?
I mean, the guitar on its own is probably worth anywhere between 75 and 90 grand just by itself without the Stephen Stills thing.
The expert also added that having been owned by Stephen Stills could increase the value by another $20,000 to $30,000.
I mean, what's your best price on it?
Give me 110, we'll make it a deal.
I'll give you 80 grand.
I can do 90.
I think you can do 80.
I don't think I can do 80.
I'll give you 85.
I've got to have 90.
Change your mind, call me.
85, man.
All right. All right, cool, man.
I got something with George Washington's face on it. And all I can really tell you from George Washington, the man had wooden teeth.
Rick quickly noticed one important detail. It wasn't actually a coin. There was no denomination on it, which meant it was likely a medal instead.
This is some kind of Masonic something. It was a secret fraternal organization that had all these rites and rituals and all this weird stuff. Benjamin Franklin was a Freemason. George Washington was, just about all the founding fathers.
Rick explained that the medal had several unusual symbols on it, including the all-seeing eye, similar to the one on the dollar bill, as well as the square and compass, and a number of other symbols that he hadn't even seen before.
How much do you want for it?
I'm looking for $5,000.
Perfectly honest, I don't know if it's worth $5 or $50,000. If you don't mind hanging out, I'll get a buddy down here. Maybe he can decode this thing.
The expert immediately identified the piece as a George Washington Masonic medal, one of the earliest examples of its kind, and only about 20 of these medals are known to exist today.
That is a George Washington Masonic medal, and literally there are more than 10,000 different types of Masonic pennies. This is like the one that started everything.
After examining it closely, the expert confirmed that it was authentic, and because of its rarity and strong connection to early American history, he estimated its value at around $40,000 or even more.
You still want $5,000?
No.
I'll give you 20 grand for it.
Kind of a lowball number.
Would you take like 21?
Nah.
I go like 23.
Nah, I'd probably take my show on the road because they say good things come to those who wait.
Okay.
The next seller walked in with one of the smallest weapons ever brought into the shop.
Damn, I've never seen one of these before. It's a pistol ring.
The seller explained the ring pistol dated back to the 1800s and was extremely rare.
It's called an Imperial Protector. This is a 6-shot version. I assume it was for gamblers.
Rick pointed out that despite its small size, the ring pistol was a real weapon, and its firing system dated back to the earliest days of cartridges.
How much did you want for it?
$9 grand.
Let me get a friend of mine down here who's going to know more about this than I am.
The expert explained these pistols were luxury items, owned only by wealthy collectors, and were incredibly scarce.
So what do they go for?
You don't have any ammunition with it, do you?
No, no.
Normally, I see them go from between $4,000 to $6,000. At a recent auction, one was up for sale. Two guys started going at it, and it went for $11,500.
After the expert weighed in, Rick offered $3,000. The seller refused, so Rick raised it to $5,000, but the seller still wouldn't budge.
$7,000 would be my top dollar.
No, can't do it.
What would be your best price?
$8,500.
I'm sorry, I just can't do it.
I had a guy skip out on me on a $50,000 bail, and I was trying to see what I can get out of this to pay the bond.
So he skipped on you, huh?
Yes, sir. No laughing matter.
Yeah, life is a bitch sometimes.
The seller explained that he was a bail bondsman and was trying to recover his money using an 1861 Double Eagle $20 gold piece he had taken as collateral.
The U.S. Mint started making these coins in 1849, and they continued to make them for over 80 years. But there were design changes along the way, and this appears to be the original Liberty head. And it was a big deal to have one of these back then because $20 was a ton of money.
Rick said the coin appeared to be original and uncirculated, so there was a chance it could be worth 6 figures. But to be sure, he called in a coin expert.
What are your questions or concerns about this coin that you would like me to evaluate?
I need to know the grade on it. And I know there's a variant of this year that's super rare and worth $250,000 in this shape.
After a careful inspection, the expert delivered both good news and bad news. The bad news was that it wasn't the ultra-rare $250,000 variant. However, the good news was that the coin graded around MS-63 or better, meaning it was still extremely valuable and likely worth at least $40,000 on the collector market.
How much you want for it?
You heard the man, 40 grand.
I'm thinking more like 30 grand.
How about 35?
So how about 33?
34, you got a deal.
What do you think?
I'll go for it. What the hell?
All right.
The next seller pulled up in one of the most recognizable vehicles in American history, the white Ford Bronco from the O.J. Simpson chase.
I've never seen anything quite like this.
It's the Bronco OJ was in the back seat of.
OJ and his friend, what was his name?
AC.
They both had identical Broncos, but this is the one everyone knows. This one everyone saw on television, the infamous car chase.
The seller explained that he had been OJ's agent at the time and bought the vehicle to prevent it from being used in a controversial tour. He had kept it for over 20 years and had already turned down a $500,000 offer.
3 or 4 things in the past, like 30 years, everyone remembers where they were at when the Challenger crashed. Everyone remembers where they were at on 9/11, and everyone remembers what they were doing when they saw the OJ chase.
Rick took it for a short drive to confirm it was mechanically sound. He noted that while the vehicle was undeniably iconic, valuing it was difficult because there were no real comparables. Nothing quite like it had ever sold publicly.
How much you want for this?
$1.3 million. Worldwide, more people have seen this vehicle than any other vehicle on Earth.
But it also has that bad stuff associated with it, the murders.
Now, you know this isn't the one that had the blood in it.
I know, okay. But...
The seller lowered his asking price to $1.25 million, but Rick emphasized that the vehicle's connection to the murders made it an extremely risky investment. With no comparable sales to establish its value and a 7-figure price tag attached, he ultimately decided the gamble was too great. The next seller came in with what he said was a samurai sword that had been in his family for generations.
I really don't know much about it.
Why is it made out of wood?
Got me on that one.
I mean, it wouldn't really do a lot of damage.
After seeing the sword, Corey noticed there was a scabbard and a handle, but no actual blade.
I mean, the handle looks pretty legit. Do you know much about it at all?
No, it's just from my grandfather. He picked it up during the war, and I really don't know.
Corey explained that the handle looked Japanese, but the problem with items like this is that they're often passed down through generations, so it could be 50 years old or 500.
Any idea what you're looking to get?
$8,000.
Do you mind if I have a buddy come in and take a look at it?
Great.
The expert explained that after World War II, U.S. forces confiscated Japanese sword blades, but allowed soldiers to keep the mountings.
How do we know how old it is?
Judging from the style, we can pretty much determine that this whole package was from the early 1800s.
While examining it, the expert discovered a hidden compartment inside the handle. He explained these compartments were used to hide money, sometimes holding the equivalent of thousands of dollars.
So why would they hide it inside their sword like that?
You would be afraid to get robbed. So this was the best place to actually hide your money.
Even without the blade, the expert said its rarity and condition made it highly collectible, estimating its value at an easy $8,000.
I'd like to give you 4.
6.5.
Tell you what, I'll do 5.
5 seems fair.
All right, deal.
The next seller rolled in with a rare 1940 Indian chief from World War II, complete with a sidecar.
World War II veteran.
This is really cool. You ought to pick this thing up, Corey. You can take your G.I. Joes for a ride. Really?
The seller said he originally bought the motorcycle while living in the UK and explained that only around 5,000 of these were produced in 1940.
During World War II, Indian was making the best motorcycles around. That's why the U.S. supplied all the Allies with them. Collectors love old Indians like this one, and the fact that it's tied to World War II makes it even more valuable.
Corey explained that these bikes were originally built in early 1940 and sent to France for the war effort. When Germany invaded France, many of them ended up being used by German forces instead, which adds to their historical appeal for collectors.
I had to get everything up and working on it. It needed complete rewire and put a battery, I put some fresh oil and started up. It ran beautiful. I've tried to keep it as original as possible. Fuel system's great, rebuilt the carburetor. It runs like a top.
The seller said that since there are only about 400 of these bikes left today, he'd like to get at least $60,000 for it. But Corey said he'd first need to have his expert check it out before making an offer.
It was one of the most reliable bikes that the military had. The way the engines were built and the transmissions, they were a lot more sturdier than the Harley-Davidson ones.
The expert said that before giving a price, he wants to test ride the motorcycle to check how it performs, especially the sidecar, which can affect handling.
Really smooth. Yeah, it rides nice like a Cadillac.
After the test ride, the expert said that, based on recent sales and current market demand, he would value the motorcycle at around $46,000.
What's your bottom number, man?
I came in thinking the bottom line would be $46,000.
Need 38 grand for it.
I gotta get 40 out of it.
I'm a sucker for motorcycles, man. I'm not gonna lose it over 2 grand. 40 grand.
I have a Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player in the history of space and time, game-used jersey.
A game-used jersey for Michael Jordan.
And autographed across the front.
The seller explained that he's a sports memorabilia collector and had purchased the jersey years earlier at a Chicago Bulls charity auction.
It's a really unique thing. 1996-97 season, which is identified by the gold NBA logo on the front of the jersey. They only wore that in the NBA's 50th anniversary season.
Rick explained that Michael Jordan became the first true mega superstar in sports and eventually a billionaire, with most of his fortune coming from endorsements, especially his shoe line with Nike.
How much you want for this thing?
I'm asking $150,000.
$150,000. I'm gonna go get Steve. He's the autograph guy. Maybe we could do something.
Okay,
Give me a few minutes.
we could talk shop.
After examining the ink, the letter flow, and how the marker soaked into the fabric, the expert concluded that both the jersey and the signature were authentic.
It's a big question. You got the paperwork right there. Do you think it's real? What do you think it's worth?
So we've seen some crazy auction prices, but I would put this right at about $135,000.
After the expert's appraisal, Rick made an offer of $90,000, but the seller declined, saying he still wanted something closer to his original asking price.
I mean, I'd go 100. I mean, I gotta make money off the thing.
I understand. I would do 125, but I don't have a dime more less than that I'd be able to take.
If you change your mind, call me.
The next seller rolled up with something straight out of World War II.
Yeah, this is a 1944 Willys Jeep. It's been pretty much fully restored.
Rick talked about how Jeeps were originally built for World War II and how the name Jeep may have come from GP, meaning general purpose.
You know, it's sort of been an icon ever since World War II. I mean, it's got a really short wheelbase. As long as you don't plan on going really fast, you can get over just about anything.
The seller mentioned that it had all original parts and had been restored by his Marine friend.
I'm pretty impressed, actually, because usually these things were so bastardized it was unbelievable. So how much are you looking to get out of it?
Well, I was thinking 25.
Rick said he didn't know how original the Jeep was, so he decided to call an expert before making the deal.
The biggest thing I look for on a Willys is right here is a data plate. The serial number is consistent with 1944, so no question that the body or the tub and the frame are original 1944. That is great.
The expert noticed it had a slightly newer post-war CJ engine from the 1940s, and while the newer engine makes it more reliable, serious collectors typically prefer the original World War II engine.
So what do you think it's worth?
I think you could get $25,000 for it, Rick.
After hearing the expert's appraisal, the seller still wanted $25,000 for the Jeep.
You take 18?
23.
How about 19 grand?
22.
I'll give you 20 grand. It's more than a fair price.
All right, 20.
Sweet.
Prepare to be amazed. The rarest Hot Wheel in the world.
Is that what I think it is?
Pink 1969 rear load beach bomb.
That's the holy grail of Hot Wheels, isn't it?
It sure is.
The next seller walked into the shop with what many collectors consider the ultimate toy collectible, the rarest Hot Wheels ever made.
It's pretty amazing. It's one of those little tidbits of history and collecting that generally you see in some guy's personal little museum or something like that. I mean,
the seller said what made the toy so rare was that it was modeled after a Volkswagen bus and came from an early Hot Wheels design that was never released in stores.
Hot Wheels was one of the greatest toys to come out in the late 60s. The fact that only a few of these were produced but never sent out to the public makes it incredibly rare. And being a Volkswagen bus, it's got a dual collector base.
The seller was asking $150,000, claiming the tiny van was the holy grail of Hot Wheels collectibles, so Rick called in an expert to evaluate it.
This is the rarest and most sought-after Hot Wheel in existence. And usually in the Hot Wheel collecting world, pink always means dollar signs. And there's only, I believe, 2 pinks known, and one is a prototype and the other one was an early production.
After carefully inspecting the car, the expert confirmed it was a genuine prototype, and with collectors constantly chasing rare Hot Wheels, its value could easily reach $100,000.
So I'm thinking 60?
Nah.
I'll go 65 grand.
Nah, I'll go down to 140.
I mean, I go as high as 70.
I guess today's not the day.
Well, thanks for coming in, man. Hey, how's it going?
Hi, fine. I got this relatively rare Harry Potter book. First edition, first printing.
The seller explained he bought it from a dealer in England and hoped to get $10,000 for it.
After the book was released in 1997, kids fell in love with it, and it just went viral all around the world.
The seller pointed out the signature inside and showed a certificate of authenticity.
How much you want for it?
Well, I thought it might be worth $10,000.
Rick admitted he had no idea what the book might be worth, and he was also uncertain about the signature, so he decided to call in a rare book expert.
You told me you wanted me to look at a signed copy, so I thought I have a signed copy. For purposes of actually comparing the signature, the best thing to do is to compare it with one that is actually known to be correct.
After carefully examining the autograph under magnification, the expert identified clear signs of forgery, including tremors in the pen strokes and unnatural retraced lines.
So, not a real signature.
I am sorry to say, I don't think that this is a real signature.
I had no idea that it might be different.
The expert concluded that the forged signature significantly undermined the book's value and that it should not be represented as a signed copy, because its value is essentially zero.
Well, I'm very disappointed. I probably will just give it to one of my great-grandchildren.
The next seller
weirdness with
The next seller brought in what appeared to be a bicycle from World War II.
Some sort of military bicycle? Do you know anything about it?
I just know it's from World War II.
The seller explained that the bike had belonged to her great-grandfather and had been sitting in her garage since she was a kid.
During World War II, the soldiers over in Europe were shipping everything from bicycles to guns to silverware to artwork, all these things that were considered war prizes back in the United States. And for some reason, your great-grandpa bought a bike back.
As Rick inspected the bicycle, he noticed the BSA markings, which indicated Birmingham Small Arms, a major British military manufacturer.
How much are you looking to get out of it?
I'm hoping I can get $1,000 for it.
Would you take $300 for it?
How about $500?
You know what? Yeah, I'll do the $500.
Good, thank you.
After the purchase, Rick brought in a military expert to learn what he really bought.
This is a folding bike that the paratroopers could hold on front of their chest, jump out of planes with. When they landed, they'd unfold it, put it together, and ride around on them.
The expert explained that while most bikes like this sell for $1,500 to $2,000, this one's condition and rarity could make it worth up to $5,000.
I gave her $500 for it. So, I mean, I just had no idea.
It's a happy accident then.
This is the original Superman 1 costume worn by Christopher Reeve.
The seller said he had bought it at an auction a few years ago and was now looking to sell it to expand his collection with other sports memorabilia.
It's Superman, and it's really iconic. It really is. Do you know how many suits there was in the movie? Was there more than one?
Original. This is the only one.
The seller also had a green crystal from the movie, which was used to create Superman's Fortress of Solitude.
So how much do you want for all this?
$300,000 for both.
Do you mind if I call someone in?
No, no problem at all.
After carefully inspecting the materials, prop numbers, and labels, the expert confirmed that the suit was genuine.
As far as he knows, there's only one, and I'm just thinking, like, there's got to be more.
That's correct. So one of the rules of Hollywood memorabilia, certainly costumes, is they never just make one.
The expert explained that the suit is extremely rare and that the costume, complete with the crystal, could fetch over $250,000 at auction.
I'd give you $200,000 for it.
Best price on this is $250,000.
At $200,000, I won't lose money.
I'm firm on the $250,000.
If you change your mind, let me know.
The next seller walked in with something Rick immediately recognized as special.
Holy! Got the mother of all Super Bowl rings.
Awesome.
The biggest and baddest.
The seller explained it was a 2004 Patriots ring from Super Bowl 39, one of the biggest and heaviest rings ever made.
Where did you get this?
I'm a broker, and a gentleman came in, did a deal with me, and never came back to get it.
So what, you loaned him some money or something like that?
Yeah.
Rick checked the ring, and after comparing it to his other Super Bowl rings, he noticed the manufacturer's mark didn't look right.
So how much were you looking to get out of it?
Mid to low 20s.
I'm going to have to get somebody in here because it just doesn't look right. I want to do a little bit more research. We'll get this thing figured out.
The expert confirmed the ring was real, and also explained why the engraving looked different from other rings.
This year is a little bit different than all the other Super Bowl rings in the past. They put so much into this ring, gold, diamonds, and everything. This thing was so enormous, it didn't fit inside Jocelyn's normal ring engraver. They actually had to have somebody laser engrave each and every ring, as you see here.
The expert also mentioned that player-issued Patriots rings like this typically sell for $30,000 to $35,000.
So how much do you want for this thing?
22,000.
18.
I go 21.
I'll give you 20 grand.
If you go 20, you go 21.
Deal.
The next seller walked in with an ancient coin from 336 BC from the Kingdom of Macedonia under Alexander the Great.
Alexander the Great. He's the most famous guy in the ancient world. I mean, there was a statue in Gaul of Alexander the Great. And when Julius Caesar saw it, he wept because he knew he would never be the man Alexander the Great was. I mean,
the seller explained that he originally thought it might be fake because it was in such good condition. So he sent it to NGC to be graded and certified.
it looks pretty incredible. It looks in amazing shape.
For that being that old, it's amazing.
I'm in love with the coin. So how much you want for this?
100 grand.
Rick said he had no idea what the coin could be worth, so he called in his ancient coin expert to determine the price.
So what would something like this be worth?
It's not rare. By standards of ancient coins, it's common. However, this one is a little more collectible because it was struck during its lifetime. This is worth $500.
The expert's appraisal was far from $100,000, so when Rick offered $400, the seller decided to keep it. The next seller walked into the shop with a strange and historic weapon from the 17th century.
17th century padlock key gun.
The key gun and a lock. Let's take a look at the lock here. It's pretty freaking heavy. Wow.
The seller explained that the gun was fully functional and was hoping to get $5,000 for it.
It almost looks too good, you know? I'm gonna need to make sure it's authentic and put a real solid value.
The expert confirmed it was a genuine key gun from between 1680 and 1720, and its original working lock made it especially rare.
Like I said, I've never seen one with its original lock, so if it functions well, I think you're approaching $10,000.
So to test the gun's functionality, they took it to the firing range.
I'm gonna show you how this is done. 3, 2, 1.
After seeing it work, the expert said the piece could bring around $10,000 at auction.
So how much did you want for it?
Let's go 7.5.
I'm offering $5,000. It's more than a fair offer.
I'm thinking 5,500.
You know, I'm really thinking the 5.
53?
52 and you got a deal.
52 it is.
What do we got there?
It's a Japanese ceremonial sword.
Do you know much about it?
I believe it's somehow related to Admiral Yamamoto.
Rick explained that Admiral Yamamoto was one of Japan's most important military leaders during World War II and the architect of the attack on Pearl Harbor. If the blade were truly connected to him, it could be highly significant.
Admiral Yamamoto, he was the most important person in the Japanese military during World War II. He believed that if they attacked Pearl Harbor, that the Americans would get really, really discouraged and just sue for peace. He really didn't understand the Americans.
The seller wanted $2,000 for the sword, so Rick called an expert, because if it were connected to Admiral Yamamoto, it could be extremely valuable.
As you can see here, the writing on the tang, it says Mikasa. The Mikasa was Admiral Togo's flagship during the Russo-Japanese War in the early 1900s. So when the Mikasa was decommissioned, Hideaki made a special order of tantos made out of the gun barrel of the Mikasa.
The expert explained that Yamamoto admired Admiral Togo and was known to gift these tantos to his lieutenants. There was even a possibility that Yamamoto owned one himself, but there was no way to verify that this particular piece had belonged to him.
So how much would something like this go for?
It's worth $10,000. And if we can prove that it actually belonged to Admiral Yamamoto, $20,000 is not out of the question.
Wow.
After hearing the expert's appraisal, Rick offered her $5,000, but she declined, saying it could be worth more if she could prove it belonged to Yamamoto.
So I'd want to do more research and see if it really is.
I mean, like, would you take 6?
No, $20,000 is a lot of money.
Okay, do your research, come back and see me. Maybe we'll make a deal.
Awesome.
I've got something you need.
All right, that looks creepy. What is it?
It's the skeletal paw of a cave bear.
Okay, I thought you were going to say Bigfoot, but
The seller said it came from a prehistoric cave bear that lived alongside early humans, an ancient fossil tens of thousands of years old, from an era when early humans roamed across Europe.
Cave bears more or less died away when the Ice Age went away. They lived in caves, so when these bears did pass away, their bones got a little bit preserved because they were inside caves.
The seller said the fossilized paw was estimated to be between 20 and 30,000 years old. That's why she wanted at least $1,000. But Rick said he had no idea of its worth, so he called in an expert to check it out.
These were massive animals that ranged all over Europe and Asia. These animals are remarkable. They were the size of a Kodiak grizzly, standing 10 or 12 feet tall.
After closely inspecting the bones, the expert confirmed the fossil was genuine. However, while the paw appeared rare, fossils like it were fairly common on the collector market, so he valued it at $900.
So how much did you want for this?
What's the best you can offer me?
$400.
Can you do 500?
I'll go 425. That's really the best I can go.
Okay, well, I like you. 425. All right.
The next seller brought in a rare 1867 shield nickel and said it was one of the finest examples ever graded.
This was just a practical choice. I mean, half dimes were expensive. They were made out of silver. This was a nickel alloy that would last a long time. It wouldn't wear out and everything else like that.
It's a very cool nickel. There's only 25 made.
The seller explained that this coin, known as the with rays design, was only produced for a short time before the mint changed it, making it even rarer.
What makes this nickel so special is that it's a proof coin. That means there was a polished blank coin that was put into the minting machine. They made sure it was a perfect coin.
The seller was asking $90,000 and felt confident about the coin's value, but Rick wanted a second opinion before deciding, so he called in an expert to verify it.
This is one of the great rarities in the American series. It's kind of on everyone's checklist who wants something like the 100 greatest United States coins. It's a historical coin struck right after the Civil War had ended.
The expert said that coins like this had sold for between $63,000 and $80,000, with most fetching prices closer to the lower end.
So what's your best price on it?
I told you 90,000.
I'm looking at like 50 grand.
That'd be throwing $20,000 away in a heartbeat. Bottom line, 80,000.
Sorry, we're not going to be able to make a deal.